listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
Okay, so on Twitter today, I saw that someone posted this thing that was posted in a Facebook group in Calgary, in a neighborhood Facebook group in a neighborhood called Bonus Calgary. And let me just read you this letter that someone put on someone else's doorstep.
Oh, wow.
It says, "Congratulations, you have won the Humbug Award. Because you have chosen to be a Grinch and not put up Christmas lights, you have disappointed all the children, young and old, in your community. LED lights are inexpensive to run and can be purchased even in secondhand stores for reasonable prices. They can last years. I'm sure cost is not an issue, and it is more about being too busy with your devices than anything else. Do you remember when you were a child and you saw all the Christmas lights on your street? What happened?
Wow.
Next year, do better and bring a smile to those in need. But remember, you still have time. It only takes a little effort to make a big difference. Love strong and love long. Putting up lights for other faiths counts too. Why not show your pride with color? Happy holidays."
Wow.
And of course, anonymous.
Of course, anonymous. Anybody who comes out like that is going to be such a coward. I hate it.
I hope
but I also love it because it's
people
so
who
funny.
own the dark house are actually on a beach in Bora Bora and screw the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Christmas with the Cranks is real and still happening.
Incredible.
That's amazing. I've never heard anything quite like that before.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But there's also there's
in Alberta.
There's so many. It was in Calgary.
Calgary. Oh gosh. Okay.
Wow.
There's so many reasons why people wouldn't
especially this
lights.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my parents are they're old. They don't put up lights because it's too much trouble.
Well, don't you know that now they're going to get a letter because you and your sister didn't love them enough and you just didn't love children enough in your little Grinch hearts. Yeah.
Lights
blah, blah.
in this economy? I mean, really?
Yeah.
I'm you know what? I love Christmas, but that is not about loving Christmas. That is about being such a jerk and having no sense of regard for what a fellow neighbor might be experiencing in their own lives.
Yeah, it's your
or that they may not celebrate Christmas at all.
Yeah, it's like being a neighborhood scold.
There's a possibility. Yeah, that's that really is not even very Christmassy. I'll have to say that.
It is not. It is. Though, I gotta say, it's in keeping with the type of person who might also be that's not very, blank of you. And then they say whatever denomination that they are. And you're just yeah, but neither is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Those people.
I thought you were going to do a Mad Lib there for a minute, but
I mean, I would have, but it just seemed. We know who those people are.
Yes.
Have any of you seen Christmas with the Cranks?
No,
I hate Tim Allen.
Fair.
I'm sorry.
Very fair.
I watch it every year.
But I like Jamie Lee Curtis.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
You watch it every year, AG?
Yeah.
Wow.
I find it very funny. I don't know why. I thought I was one of the few people who actually watched it a lot. But I was so my dog gets groomed in Mission, and we were out there having lunch while he was getting groomed at Rocco's Diner, which is the diner where they shoot Riverdale. It's somehow involved in it's either the interior of Riverdale or whatever, but their whole menu is Archie related. But anyway, so naturally that's where we have lunch every time we go to Mission, and I highly recommend it. It's awesome. But there are these two dudes at another table, right behind us, having a conversation, and you could tell that they were kind of the geeks the town geeks, and I mean that in a nice way. Like they like, because Mission is kind of like a typical small town, and they're obviously, I don't know, like not a typical small town resident dweller. But they were having a conversation about Christmas with the Cranks, and I was like, I could jump in on this. But
wow, so you're recommending it.
Yeah, but they were saying, I mean, if anyone out there is listening, because this will not make sense to you three, other than like, it's a story about this family who wants to go on a cruise instead of do Christmas, and the whole neighborhood turns on them, basically. But yeah, they're just like earnestly debating how the family could have done some like light decorations to make it seem like they were having
Do
Christmas,
they live in Calgary?
And also gone on their cruise. And also gone on their cruise and not sort of incurred the wrath of their entire neighborhood. But at the end, they also both concluded that there's nothing wrong with not putting up lights for Christmas.
I'm glad they arrived at that conclusion.
So it's a whole movie about the obvious conclusion that do you.
Yeah, but it's funny.
So is that so is this like, do you think that this like kind of like, I mean, I know that there are all kinds of like little like neighborhood rules fascists running around. I get that. Like it's a very low key fascism, but like, and I get that we've had tons of people over the years be like, you have to say Merry Christmas, blah, 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 boring. But like, do you think that like any of these people who might strenuously like object to someone not decorating their home, like, can you just, I can't even place myself inside their being to like, what would bring you to write, because you have to go through steps. You have to type that letter or write that letter. Then you have to walk outside your house and deliver it. Like there are so many points at which you could calm down and just be like, what am I doing with my life?
I know. And it's so angry. Like at the top, it just says congratulations in all caps with like a bunch of exclamation marks next to it.
Are the people who received the letter going to try and find out who sent it?
I don't know. It was like just posted in a Facebook group. I don't know if anyone. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you got that letter? Like, I guess I would want to try to find out who put it in my mailbox.
Yeah, I would be curious.
I would be very curious. Well, do you guys remember? I don't know if you would remember this because it happened to me like before we started the podcast, but it happened to me like shortly after. I think maybe like a couple years after we moved into our building, and this is related, I swear, a little bit, not Christmassy, but like, although someone did steal our Christmas pants off our door.
I remember that
several years ago. That was
Christmas pants.
Yeah, we had Santa pants that we would
Christmas
hang on the
pants?
door. Santa pants that we'd hang on the door, and you could reach in and grab candy canes or chocolates and stuff.
There's treats
Someone
in
stole
Santa's
those
pants, is what she's saying.
Exactly.
Okay, that's why I guess I was confused. Never mind.
Sure.
Continue.
Yeah. No, fair enough. It was actually like you're supposed to be able to carry 2 wine bottles, one in each leg of the pants. But we just always hung it on the door and filled. Anyway.
Yeah, that's makes much more sense. Wine
makes
pants.
much more sense.
Santa's
Wine pants.
All my pants are wine pants.
So anyways, so like we have this like these visitor parking spots for the businesses that are on like the first floor, but also anyone can park there just like sort of shortly. You're not supposed to like leave your car there for a number of days, but anyway, whatever. We parked in one of the visitor spots and I came downstairs and found a note on the back window of our car written in all caps in like the angriest writing that said, if you ever park this crooked again, I'm going to key your car and I will like, I don't know, basically like make you pay kind of thing. And it was such like a violently worded and written note. And plus I hadn't parked poorly. I was within my lines. I wasn't like crooked. I was fine.
Wow.
And I looked at the car that was next to me and I was like, well, like, I think this car belongs to our neighbors. This is weird. And so then I take the note upstairs and I show it to Carlos and then I turn it over. They had written it on the back of one of their parking receipts with their license plate. And it was neighbors that were like 5 doors down the hallway from us.
Oh.
And I was like, this is absolutely unhinged behavior. And so we reported it to our building manager, and he had to like send a sternly worded email to all the buildings and like a photograph of the threatening note and be like, hey, I'm going to speak to who did this because they were dumb enough to write it on the back of a parking receipt, but you cannot leave threatening notes on your neighbor's cars. And if anybody ever does something threatening, we are absolutely going to report you to the police because that is, that is just like, that's not allowed.
Wow.
It was, they still live down the hole.
Do you talk to them?
No. So I froze them out for like 10 years. And
Wow.
just today, I finally like smiled and talked to the wife of the person who I think did it.
Well,
Do you think they're
But I still
responsible
won't
for
speak to the man.
for the Santa pants?
I don't know who took the Santa pants.
I think they did.
That's a mystery that will never be resolved.
I've decided they did.
You think it was
Of course I did.
Yeah, I decided they did
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
evil.
I mean, it was several years later, maybe, for sure.
But anger burns slow and long. So
Apparently, yeah. I mean, honestly, it could. But I'm always like, oh God, I know that these people have like secret violence in their hearts. I was like,
Wow.
Wow.
I know, right? Speaking of secret violence in our hearts, we watched
The most natural and unnatural segues of all time.
Well, it's true. We're here. It's that time of year again. Before we introduce the episode, I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
and I'm Stephen Schelling.
Yay! Steven's back.
Welcome, Steven.
Yay!
It
We're
is
so happy to have you back.
It's
so happy.
Another Christmas miracle.
It's a true Christmas party.
Absolutely.
It's a Christmas miracle. It's a Christmas party. And you're tuning in, everyone, for round 8. Yeah, 8 years.
8 years.
8 years of Love Actually versus The Holiday. This is the 8th iteration. We recorded the original one. It was like episode 5 of the podcast many years ago, in 2015. And we are still here in 2022 recording our 8th iteration of this fight.
You know what? I feel like when we started talking about this, we were like, there weren't any, like, no one else was talking about these two movies together. But now, and then I like flash forward 8 years, and I feel like it's a thing now where they're regularly compared together at Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't specifically recall back then. Like, I don't want to for sure claim that we started this trend, but like maybe.
But yeah, I agree. I'm with you there. Maybe I guess it's in the rom-com tradition of Christmas movies. It's very they get pitted against each other. I mean, we know who the full champion actually is, so it's not really a problem.
The new Christmas classic, Falling for Christmas.
Wait.
Is that the
The whole thing this year is that Steven's swing, and we don't know what he's gonna say.
I don't know what I'm
Nope,
going to
we
say.
don't know.
I'm
Unbelievable.
so excited.
Yeah.
He
I did my
could
homework. I watched them
He
both.
could tip the balance in either direction.
But I want to know if Stephen, had you seen them before?
Well, I had seen Love Actually before, but I had not seen it at the time. I believe I was working with Andrea, and someone was talking about Love Actually, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And this was like 2010. So,
No. So Love Actually came out in 2003.
right, but I still hadn't
You
seen
and I
it.
weren't.
Oh, we were not working together?
Yeah. We were. Oh, in 2010 we
Yes.
were working together. I see what
And
you mean.
I
I'm
still
sorry.
hadn't
I'm
seen
sorry.
it, and people were talking about it.
Yeah.
So our boss got his friend to lend me the DVD for a week, but I could only have it for a week because he needed it back by Christmas because he needed to watch it. And so I watched it for the very first time. As for The Holiday, never seen it until a week ago. However,
amazing.
Again, when I was working with Andrea, I was invited to go on the junket for it, but because of passport issues at the time, I could not. And so our boss went, and his main takeaway, other than the article he wrote about it being a Christmas movie and he wasn't a big fan, was that when Cameron Diaz walked into the room, it was like seeing a baby giraffe on the savannah, because she was just bright, full of energy, lovely, and all legs. And so those are the things I took from the film before I saw it, but I have now seen it. There are no baby giraffes in The Holiday.
In fact, no animals were harmed.
Denied
in the
the junket.
Well, actually, no. The dog was
junket?
harmed in the making of this film, because Iris just leaves her dog behind with a complete stranger. Who does that?
It's true. It's weird.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
does that? Ugh.
At least leave your dog with a friend.
She has a brother down the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
With kids who would probably love to
Exactly.
take
And
care of her.
assumedly,
cow.
there's someone taking care of the kids, because he has time to go out and get drunk.
Exactly.
A lot.
Oh,
Yes. In a really, really good looking Fair Isle sweater that he's wearing. I mean, we're talking Jude Law at the peak of his powers. It's.
I know we were. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But so, Stephen, do you remember what you thought of Love Actually when you first saw it?
Let's put it. I am not a Christmas movie person for the happiness, the vague happiness on display. That's not a me type of thing. I remember watching and going, "Oh, this is what people have been talking about," because I literally had not heard about it until 2010, because I was living in my black-hearted cave, I suppose. And so I watched it and I thought, "Oh, okay, Hugh Grant's still cute." And I did love Laura Linney, still do. So I enjoyed those parts of it, but it wasn't something that I was desperate to put into my Christmas movie rotation. I remember that. And I could say the same with The Holiday. It's definitely not on my, it's not going to be after this particular moment. It's not going to be brought back year after year in my viewing time over the Yuletide season.
Unless we ask you to do this again.
Hey,
and
I'm
again
here
and
for year
again.
9 and year 10. I sat through Xanadu for y'all. I can do this.
You paid your dues.
I have.
Wow. Yeah, we bring you out for the hardest ones.
Yeah.
It seems like.
It's hard graft. Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't read Stephen's bio, any of the background stuff or anything else. So maybe just we'll quickly zip through some of those. I will jump in with Stephen's bio. Stephen Schelling is a writer, fashion stylist, PR executive, professional gadabout, and our resident expert on all things fabulous. He is a longtime friend and frequent guest and guest host of the podcast, and we're thrilled to have him back.
Thrilled
Yay,
to be
Stephen.
here.
Lisa, would you like to read the background on Love Actually?
Oh, yes, I would. I'm always curious what they say this film's about. Love Actually is a 2003 Christmas-themed romantic comedy film written and directed by Richard Curtis. It features an ensemble cast composed predominantly of British actors, many of whom had worked with Curtis in previous film and television projects. Mostly filmed on location in London, the screenplay delves into different aspects of love as shown through separate stories involving a wide variety of individuals, many of whom are shown to be interlinked as the tales progress. The story begins 5 weeks before Christmas and is played out in a weekly countdown until the holiday, followed by an epilogue that takes place 1 month later.
Thank you, Lisa. AG, what about you? Want to read The Holiday?
Sure. The Holiday is a 2006 romantic comedy film written, produced, and directed by Nancy Meyers. It was filmed in both California and England and stars Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz as Iris and Amanda, two lovelorn women from opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean who arrange a home exchange to escape heartbreak during the Christmas and holiday season. Jude Law and Jack Black were cast as the film's leading men, Graham and Miles, with Eli Wallach, Shannon Sossamon, Edward Burns, and Rufus Sewell playing key supporting roles.
And I'll just let everyone know. So yeah, in case you've missed it, Lisa, pro The Holiday, me, pro Love Actually. Historically, these have been our positions. over the years, we've had guests weigh in. Year 4 featured many-time guest, friend of the pod, Sarah Geisler, who is ultimately pro the holiday. In year 5, we had Alicia Tobin of Retail Nightmares and Rachel Fox of the Rio Theater join us on stage for a live debate. Alicia was pro the holiday. Rachel was pro Love Actually. Year 6, AG joined and realized she doesn't like either movie. Her dislike,
is that an option?
Her dislike continued. Yep. Her dislike continued through year 7, and now we're gonna see what new insights and fresh revelations await us with Stephen for year 8.
Stephen, we're hoping that you'll, have weight come down on one side or another.
We'll see.
You don't have to.
There's a good chance I will. Just I could be swayed, but there's a good chance I will.
Well, I have a confession, and I need to just air this off the top. We watched The Holiday in full, and we got to Love Actually, and we decided we're gonna fast forward through 2 storylines, and so we did.
Which 2 storylines?
Both of the ones involving anyone named Colin. So Colin Firth's storyline got axed, and Colin, when he the sex craze.
Oh right, the bag full of condoms. That one. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only part of that storyline that we watched, because we actually like the actresses who are made to play the the sex pots
in Milwaukee.
America,
January
they're
Jones.
all great.
Yeah, January Jones. I didn't know January
Eliza,
Jones was in this film. I knew about Alicia Cuthbert, Canada's actress extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And then
and they're all great. They're all great. And so for them, we sort of watched it because I think that they bring some real charm to just such limited gross stereotypes. Anyway, but yeah, so we eliminated those 2 storylines. It did nothing to diminish the film. They are not integral to the plot at all. And I would highly recommend this going forward.
Somebody should just do an edit of the film with that storyline deleted.
I've been dreaming of a 60-minute edit of Love Actually for a few years now.
I am
because there's a couple other storylines could be.
I read somewhere doing my due diligence as a friend of the pod. I looked up some interesting facts about the film, and apparently in America, obviously on TV, they completely cut the Martin Freeman and the woman from.
Judy?
Judy.
Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah, from Gavin and Stacey, exactly. They cut them entirely, and I thought that was actually one of the nicer sections of the film. It was just it's people doing their jobs and being embarrassed, but then there's this meet cute, and I thought it was a better meet cute than, workplace harassment.
Did you?
Because they were both consenting.
Look at you. Yeah.
They are both. Yeah. I mean, they are the only 2, I think, as well, who we're to understand that they are definitely working class people. Yes, Colin is working class, but he's just so awful. I can't really take him seriously as a person. But everyone else in the film, they're a lot of upper class and wealthy white people. And I had this weird thought, you guys, and tell me if I'm wildly out there, but is part of what we, and I understand that the people who have loved Love Actually over the years, have we sort of loved it in part? Yes, the comedy parts are kind of fun and there's some charm and stuff and it's lively and it has a decent pace, but do we love it because people are kind of awful in it in the same way that we kind of enjoy The White Lotus because it's rich white people being awful? I think there might be some parallel there. And then some Anyway, I'm really deeply thinking about that this year.
I think those are good, deep thoughts. I mean, for me, mostly besides all the harassment and the genuinely depressing storylines that don't make me feel Christmassy at all, there's also the time-space continuum that this is on. I don't understand at the very beginning. There's a wedding and there's a funeral and people are at work at the exact same time?
Well, didn't Richard Curtis start with 4 weddings and a funeral? So he's sticking to...
At least that's over a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But this is they give you 5 weeks, I think.
They give you 5 weeks, but I think it's like it is deeply unclear as to like, so they have a wedding midday in the middle of the week when people are supposed to be at work.
Well, they don't actually work. We've covered this part.
But we see them in various workplace scenarios, even if they don't really actually do any work. Like, I don't know. It's
and
wild.
Why is Laura Linney at a wedding wearing a suit?
Yes.
Editing is definitely a problem with this.
I mean, they try to link everybody together. So I'm assuming that Laura Linney is Colin Firth's friend in some way.
Yeah.
Like they're buddies, but they don't work together. That was one of the links.
Yeah.
And then I realized later on that I'm going to America to get laid, Colin. His best friend in the cater waiter world also works on set as the
with Judy and
works on set as the AD or not even AD. He's probably just lower down.
He seems like just a production
he's a PA
assistant or something.
But he's just like, oh, we need you to take your top off so we can get the lighting. That I saw that one, but I was trying to get how everybody was sort of related. Like Emma Thompson's brother is the prime minister. Yada yada.
Yeah.
Which,
but like,
it's England. She would not be at home. She would have a TV show and she would have a radio show on a right wing network if she was his sister. Because also that he's conservative because he's got a picture of Margaret Thatcher in his office. I don't see a non-conservative prime minister having that.
You think that's just not like part of the house art?
No, you get to move the art around in your office no matter who, you don't need to look at Maggie all day if you are a Labour prime minister.
Isn't he supposed to be Tony Blair though, who was Labour?
He's supposed to be a conservative version of, because I don't think Tony Blair had Maggie in the office. Would you want to look at Maggie?
No, I would think you're right about that.
But then he couldn't say his saucy Minx line, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it was just there to set up a joke. But I just think there's like too many storylines and too much stuff for even what is probably a really excellent professional editor to pull together in a way that was cohesive and logical and told the story properly.
Well, yeah, you got like the kid starting the drums 5 days in advance. And I was complaining about this timeline to Carlos last night while we watched it. And he said, as a former percussionist, you could learn to. I laughed so hard when he said that. But anyway, as a former percussionist, you could learn to play one song relatively well in 1 week, maybe. And I was like, I'm sorry, he's 11. Like he's doing. But the one good thing. Sorry, I'm just like, so obviously Joanna singing is like the saving grace really of the entire film.
Yes,
I know. But like there's a kind of a neat detail when the performance is happening. When the kid stops
when he
playing
lifts his
drums,
finger to dad and the drums disappear. Yes.
Yeah, the drums disappear. I was like, oh my God, that's a feat of sound engineering right there. Great work.
Someone took a note and wrote it down and then used it later in the day in their work.
I was actually like, weirdly just like, wow, this movie cares. And then I went back to being like,
that's some faint praise.
Well,
I know.
Apparently there's a lot, like a whole kind of storyline about Sam being a gymnast.
I read about that too.
And they had shot all these scenes, like most notably when he does his run through the airport. There were a bunch of scenes they shot of him doing like cartwheels and backflips over luggage and people.
Oh my God.
There's like it
was going to be too expensive
whole,
in
like,
post
gag reel
to like make it work
of like a child doing gymnastics over stuff through that was supposed to also run through this movie.
Wow.
Well, that would have been another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
to set it up. Really long movie.
I mean, it is extremely long. It is, I mean, there's 8 couples' lives, and you're sitting through all of it. And I mean, I fast forwarded through anything with Keira Knightley in it because you know how I feel about Keira Knightley. I just can't with her.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I dislike her intensely. It's not her fault. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I just don't want to look. I just don't want to see her on screen.
And did you read about how old she was making this movie?
She was 5 years older than teen drummer boy. Oh my God, he's a drummer boy. Yeah. There's another Christmas connection.
Oh, drummer boy. Yeah. Oh my God, I hadn't
5 years older.
Put that together.
Why is she getting married? At what? Was that made her 17?
I think she was 18 when it was
17.
filmed because he was 15 and
18.
playing 13. But it's also weird to have seen him in other stuff now where he's an adult, and it's very strange.
Looks exactly the same. Like just has like a child face on an adult
with
body.
His little elfin eyes, and it's very disturbing.
But if he hadn't been put into this context where Joanna was his like love interest, I would have believed that maybe he was 8.
Yeah,
maybe he was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks so young. He looks. I think about that storyline, and I'm like, whatever. Like I don't really enjoy the idea of like parents encouraging their 11-year-olds to think of
that it ain't over till it's over.
Soulmates and. Yeah. I'm not, and I don't really love like at the end when he's like he should have kissed her. He's 11. Yeah. For the love of God,
I know.
Keep it in your pants, buddy. But I appreciate it on the level that this kid's mom has just died after being sick for a long time, and that he's fallen in love with this girl who has the same name as his mom. But they don't explore that idea of transference very much at all. Like if anything, they say it and then they sort of acknowledge it as grief and then they put it aside. And like this storyline really should be about like this kid and this man, like they hint at it. Like Liam Neeson is like, stepdad seems to matter in a way now that it never did before.
That is heartwarming that he's trying to be a good father to his dead wife's son from another relationship.
Yeah.
That is quite lovely. And if you watch was it last year that they made the quote sequel, the Red Nose sequel, and you see them getting married, or at least you see them getting engaged. That's Joanna and young elf boy drummer. It actually is kind of cute.
Isn't he the one that was in the Queen's Gambit?
Yes,
too?
as the hypersexual Australian hat wearing dude. Yeah, that was weird.
Yes, that was him.
I kept watching it going, who is he and why does this make me uncomfortable? And that's maybe why.
Now you know. Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, there's this. I mean, we've been through this before, Lisa. I like the dark parts of Love Actually. I'm really.
Isn't it all dark?
I think. Well, I mean, like the grief parts, like where Emma Thompson is like understanding her husband's not infertility, Jesus, infidelity, infidelity, and I really do think she does a beautiful job. I also think maybe like, because I'm not the biggest Richard Curtis fan necessarily, but I think that like the most perfect piece of writing in this film belongs to Emma Thompson when she confronts her husband at the end, because it's very understated and it's very beautiful, but it's also extremely direct. Mm-hmm. And
you made a mockery of our life
and mine,
and a mockery of me,
mockery of me,
and my life, and I think it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that character,
the wife of the prime minister or the sister of the prime minister, would say
this is. Well, I mean, that part, they really don't explore that enough.
I like the part where the prime minister fires the girl because he's attracted to her.
See, and you mentioned the whole like encouraging young boys to kiss the girl. This movie is all about encouraging extremely bad behavior, right? Encouraging the prime minister's sort of I can't have an affair with her, so I'm going to fire her. And then you have other people just encouraging people to do really bad things. Like Emma Thompson's husband says to Laura Linney, when are you going to bone our other employee? Like, what kind of boss sets himself up for this level of HR disaster?
I mean, I think this was 2003. People didn't know
about
HR
the kind of boss that's about to hit on his secretary.
Well, yeah, and I remember thinking when I first saw the movie that they had a long-running affair. I didn't realize that it had started when the movie started. Like she pursued him for all of 3 days before he broke and cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
Well, this was my realization a couple of years ago, is that kind of one of the tricks that Richard Curtis uses here, and I think that this is extremely manipulative, is that most of the time throughout the film, all of the female characters are the ones who initiate sexual contact. And I think that lulls us into
a false sense
thinking
of security.
that there's not coercive behavior happening all over the place. There's not inappropriate things happening. There's not like power dynamics at work. Like it's a very troublesome aspect of this film.
Well, it's just so aggressively like from a male point of view. And I found that as watching this over the years, that is grating on me more and more over the years. It's just like, I don't find any of the dialogue, any of the female characters say believable in any sense. It's just some man's fantasy of what a woman would say if they're like, you know, proposed and pursued under, you know, the guise of love.
Yeah.
Of course, things like everything will work out. You want to ask a woman like Claudia Schiffer out on a date, who's a mom at your school? Yeah, she'll say yes and fall in love with you. Of course she will. It'll be fine. You want to chase someone through an airport? Yeah, that'll work out. It'll be all great. You want to fly to America and like hit on girls in a bar? Of course, they'll find you attractive. It'll like, you'll have a great time. Like nothing will work out badly if you pursue someone in the name of love. That is the message of this movie.
And as someone who has, I'm close to being raised in a blended family. The two school children whose parents are now together, that's going to go real well. They're in the same grade. Those two boys are going to get along just great in the future. That's not going to be a problem at all.
The idea that they smile at each other
like,
in a knowing way.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
No, sorry. That doesn't happen between two 11-year-old kids.
No, or even two 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It doesn't happen.
No. I also hate that like Joni Mitchell was
hijacked
in this position
to be in this film?
Of being the disappointing gift that you get on Christmas.
Yeah.
That is doing her dirty.
She didn't get a tacky necklace wrapped up by
that necklace really was tacky, wasn't it? It's terrible.
So tacky.
Really
oh my God. It's so embarrassing.
And also 237, that's the best you can do for your mistress? I mean, 237 pounds. Come on.
Yeah.
And then you spent, what, 20 pounds on what were CDs in the early 2000s? Maybe 40 pounds.
It was a double.
It was a double CD.
It was a double CD. Well, that changes everything. A double CD.
Yeah.
I just want to just say something like about the like aggressive male point of view. It's just like, I also, these scenes where like she's trying on the necklace and she's just wearing like a bra and panties, like so unnecessary.
Why did we need to see that? Why do we need to see the girl with her top off having a man's hands on her breasts?
No. Why do we need to see the housekeeper like strip into her bra and before diving into the pool to rescue things? Like,
also,
it's so gratuitous.
Why did Carl, and this is Laura Linney and Hot Carl at The Office.
Carl,
because of that one night where she had to talk to her brother, I think it's her brother, on the phone and talk him through a problem. And she said, no, I'm not busy. Why could he not get over that? Why was it all like, oh, he's gone.
Why didn't she just say my brother's very sick?
Yeah. And why didn't he go, oh, well, maybe we should try again another night because I'm really into you.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I was consenting to be here and it was great and we were having a good time. And then, of course, you had to answer the phone. And I understand that, but you're Laura Linney and I'd like to be with you. Why was that a deal breaker that she has one other person she has to deal with?
Because she wore a toque to a wedding.
Well, okay.
I just want that
she deserves to be burnt at the stake for that, to be honest. And also,
there we go.
That toque, the way it was, that sort of shaker knit thing she was, it was terrible.
Oh, it was terrible.
It was terrible.
You know,
who wears that to a wedding?
Once a man in this film is sent home with a hard-on, that woman is dead to him. Like she's
old news.
She's old
find
news.
Someone
she's
better.
Ash in the fireplace. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Well, except for creepy stalker McStalkerson, who, waits for years and then shows up outside her door, Keira Knightley's door, with the handwritten Bob Dylan cards. That's just so horrible. Even the actor thought it was terrible at the time, and he still does. Oh my goodness.
And he had frosted tips. Like that's what you get from a man with frosted tips. But it's not great.
No.
It's not great.
Don't say anything. Your husband's upstairs. Read my cue cards. What?
No. Yeah, no.
We have to talk about the holiday.
We do.
I was going to say that too.
Okay, well, we've gone over the fact that I can't believe Iris left her dog with some crazy lady from LA. We've gone over the fact that Jude Law was at the peak of his powers when this film came out. Just unimpeachably perfect. I think their cottages are super cute. There's that little scene where poor Cameron Diaz, American girl, has trouble getting her clothes in a closet because they're small in Europe. That's cute. And by cute, I mean, oh my God. I don't understand why she can't cry. That's really dumb.
Yep.
And I'm really angry that Iris, Kate Winslet, has to be with Jack Black. He's gross. He's horrible to her. And I think he might be slightly sociopathic, but I'm not absolutely sure. But that also might just be the fact that I don't like Jack Black in general. His energy and mine do not jibe. And I think that it's not fair that Cameron Diaz gets to have Jude Law circa 2006 and Kate Winslet gets the guy that wears a Nacho Libre mask in the next film. I don't think that's fair. Why does Iris have to get the schlub? Why? Iris is a nice person. She helps the old director next door. She wheels food to him and stuff. I don't get it. Why does she have to settle for... And doesn't he dump her as soon as his ex-girlfriend shows back up again? But because I guess she's horrible too, then it's okay that he's a bad person? I don't understand. Maybe I don't live in LA.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know why.
When he sees her outside the video store and kind of has this moment of realization that she lied about being wherever and she's with another man. But it's just you're also kind of on a date.
Yeah,
too.
I thought that too.
I mean,
he was already hedging his bets
when
for
he
him
goes
to pretend.
take that dust out of her eye.
Oh, the dust out of the eye trick. Oy. Yeah.
Used that one before.
I have never thought. I mean, I have actually, I believe even publicly, in a different context, stated that I thought that they paired Kate Winslet with Jack Black because Hollywood was still under the illusion that she was fat. And I have always found that to be just so indicative of Hollywood. Now, I know a lot of women who love Jack Black and think that he's a total dreamboat.
Some people love him.
And I'm fine with that. I like him. I just think in this film, it's a continuation of sort of the James Cameron myth of Kate Winslet, which is that she's and sort of what they talk about in Love Actually too, but they called Natalie chubby all the time.
Yeah.
This to me is sort of similar
for Jack Black, some people like strawberry ice cream and some people like eating dirt out of the street. It's up to them.
Wow.
And these are their choices.
Okay. To be fair, Jude Law was Kate Winslet's brother, so let's just, remember that.
Yeah,
for sure. She can't have sex with him. I understand that.
Yeah, but there were other actors. They could have found somebody in Hollywood who wasn't Jack Black. I mean,
I like Jack Black. This is not a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
I like Jack Black too, honestly.
I like the pool better.
I really do.
I'm glad she got a pool.
I just think
she deserved a pool.
I'm glad she got a pool too. I just think I mean, honestly though, also Rufus Sewell, gross.
But he's perfect in that role.
I've liked him in so many movies.
He's so slimy and he's just so perfect. And he's in your face slimy, whereas Jack Black, you'll only find out 10 years down the line what he's done to you, whereas Rufus Sewell will tell you right away what he's going to do and what's happening. And he'll bring up his new fiance on stage in front of you.
Do you have some secret dirt on Jack Black?
I do not.
That you
I'm
can't
sure
reveal?
he is a lovely, lovely person.
Okay, because I was he's only historically I've heard ever been great.
I'm sure he's lovely, but I don't like to look at him on screen and see him acting. And in this especially, I think Iris deserves...
Do you like him better when he's scat?
No. And Tenacious D is not my thing either. I've never understood the whole...
I love The Pick of Destiny. I think that's a great movie. I'm sorry. I love that movie.
I've never gotten into that whole oeuvre of his. I think Iris deserved better. I mean, really, if you look at Love Actually, she's still with Leo in Titanic. Let's find her someone on that level, right?
I mean, I gotta say, Leo got pretty gross.
Yeah, no, he's all weird and
like I would rather be with Jack Black than Leo. I'm gonna say. Just
I mean, lesser of two evils, but or evil of two lessers. You could do it either way.
So you sound like you really hated it.
No, actually, to be honest, and if I can reveal, I prefer The Holiday to Love Actually.
Yeah,
I do.
Wow.
It's not as now. Faint praise though. It is not as terrible. It is.
Yes. Okay. I
it is slightly more enjoyable on the Stephen scale, but it's not.
The Stephen scale.
I think what soured me in the beginning was again dog abandonment. Not okay. I thought the houses. It's a Nancy Meyer film. I mean, the houses are going to be gorgeous.
Of course.
Iris doesn't get a good kitchen. She gets a utilitarian kitchen, whereas Napkin Head, her brother, has this gorgeous kitchen dining room set. I don't think that's fair either. But yes, Cameron Diaz has a gorgeous kitchen that her character probably never uses because she doesn't even know how to make a coffee. So
she doesn't eat.
But that.
Yeah, she also doesn't eat.
Doesn't cry, doesn't eat. Does she breathe? What does she do?
Yeah.
I mean, she drinks alcohol.
Well, don't we? But
seduces men when they come to her home in the middle of the night.
Well, she's never going to see them again. Then that means it's okay.
Yeah, but then she says, I've been told I'm not good at this.
Well, that's because
What human person says that to a man she's just asked to have sex with her? But she's
dating Edward Burns. I mean, if anyone's going to tell you you're not...
Yeah,
exactly. If anyone's going to tell you he's sort of the early 2000s Army Hammer, you don't need him in your life.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Yes.
Is he really?
It's the same feeling. That
perfect.
same vibe.
Just like the vibe.
Yeah.
Not,
but he's been with
not,
Christy Turner forever.
No, but
no.
Actor,
But the vibe he gives as an actor.
As an actor. Okay.
No, he's not like an alleged cannibal. But like just the vibe he gives.
He doesn't have an HBO or Hulu documentary about him and his family.
No.
But
I will say, like, so something I have complained about year after year after year is like, do Amanda and Graham understand the meaning of the word complicated? And so I don't need to rehash that this year. But this year, for the first time, I was sitting there thinking, while Graham hears that the worst thing that has ever happened to Amanda in her entire life is that her parents separated amicably at 15, he is sitting there knowing my wife just died and I'm raising 2 children alone. What is going through Graham's mind in that moment? What? If it, like, again, I don't mean to be mean about a hierarchy of trauma. I don't think that it has to be a contest, but I feel like the writer, and I can't remember if Nancy wrote it or not, but has this idea that parents separating, it was before, like, the concept of parents separating as being this like soul splitting grief that children never get over or can't work around is kind of like from before the divorce rate was like 60%. And so it was written from the perspective of someone who feels like that would be the ultimate failure and rift in any family's life. And I do not feel that was the case in 2005. That was not our reality. Like, people were getting divorced all the time. Children were relatively okay.
Yeah. I mean, I find that the 3 aspects of this movie that I can tolerate and sort of like watching every year are just like the relationship between Iris and Arthur.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I love that.
And sort of the feeling A Cottage in England gives me. And the feeling like the Santa Ana winds and this beautiful house in LA gives me. It makes me think of vacations. And that's pleasant. And it's just like that is the movie to me. Like, it otherwise could be like, it's like Charlie Brown where like the adults are all blah 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 blah. And you're just like watching these beautiful pictures of nice things.
And great kitchens. Except for Iris's sad little corner kitchen. Very sad.
But I would just say, in terms of a movie that makes you feel a certain generosity of spirit, I have to give to The Holiday as well.
Okay.
I know I like The Holiday more, but well, that's not a revelation.
Yeah.
Although it does seem strange that the main characters are both so ill-suited. Like they switch homes, and obviously the comedy has to come from the fact that they're fish out of water. But for Cameron Diaz to be in 6-inch heels walking down a lane in the Cotswolds in the snow, and it seems gratuitously, it's basically making fun of dumb American women in that one moment. It's sort of like, ha, she didn't know that there was snow when she knew there was snow. And why did she keep her shoes on?
She'd never been anywhere, and she never goes anywhere, and she's never been on vacation.
Right.
But like, this woman runs a successful production company, and like, she's got Google. Yeah. The other thing that I gotta say, in terms of like, Amanda's never gonna be a person for me, is she's like the kind of person who's like, I can't wait to just like read a book, not a magazine article, but a book. She means literally one book. And she's going away for 2 weeks, and she wants to read one book.
But she brings a stack with her on the plane, like 8 books. Yeah.
But I mean, she knows herself. She's gonna get through one.
It was nice to see a young John Krasinski and Catherine Hahn as her employees. That's a plus.
Yeah, I like that too. Nice. Yeah.
Right. And just sort of going, oh my God, you guys are going to do so much better than this. Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I think maybe like for now I've reached the peak of how much I like the holiday, but I certainly don't hate it the way that I used to. So that feels good. And I definitely hate Love Actually way more than I ever did before. And I think I've figured out the right way to watch it, which is to eliminate a few of the storylines. And I still defend it. I think, like, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I still personally think it is a more interesting film to me than The Holiday. I find The Holiday quite, like, it just doesn't engage me on the same level. If we could put Iris and Arthur's storyline somehow in Love Actually, that would be my real dream marriage. Like, we get rid of 3 storylines from Love Actually and put Iris and Arthur into Love Actually.
Oh, that's an interesting. We've never explored that before.
We need a film editor stat.
New. Yeah, I like this idea. Except for I would take the Emma Thompson storyline right out.
Can we just give Emma Thompson Jude Law and have a really fun movie where everyone's happy?
Ooh. That's interesting.
Yeah, she meets Jude Law.
Honestly, like
somewhere outside of, I don't know, Piccadilly Circus, whatever you want to do with London. And they have an affair. And then she leaves Alan Rickman. End of film. Merry Christmas. Fabulous movie.
So, do either of these movies pop?
I think The Holiday still pops. Sorry, when I was watching it, I was just charmed all over again.
Yay, I'm glad for you. Yeah. I'm honestly, truly, like, I want you to be charmed by it.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily want you to have my experiences that both of them disappoint me.
Well, it's not a perfect movie, but that's fair.
Yeah. Although I will say, I think there's an edited down version of Love Actually that pops, but I can't give the full film any pops anymore. Sorry.
Huh.
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
No, probably not.
Wow.
I know.
That's huge.
This is the first year that I've actually been fast forwarding through these storylines makes this a much more tolerable experience. And honestly, partly it's just 2022 has been so awful to women. And I know that the context of this film has to be within the context of when it was made. I get that. And this is what I've been sort of telling myself for years and years and years and years and years. But I'm tired. I'm just tired. And I think eliminating the things that don't serve me, I'm at that stage of my white womanhood and I'm pretty thrilled by it.
I'll second that.
That's a huge development.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I echo you feeling tired watching these 2 movies. I can't give either of them pops.
Fair.
I'm sorry.
No, fair.
Steven, let's hear what you have to say.
I can give The Holiday almost half a pop because I had never seen it before. I think that I can do that. rather than what I think, I would just like to read a headline from the Daily Mail because both movies are pseudo-British. And this came out last year, and this made me laugh so hard. Now the woke brigade are coming for your Christmas films. Twitter critics say Love Actually rewards toxic men, and Jack Black is a dangerous sociopath in the holiday. And so anything that makes the Daily Mail write an op-ed piece, which if listeners don't know, it's sort of the British tabloid. It's kind of like the New York Post of or the Toronto Sun of British tabloids, and anything that makes them mad makes me happy. So critiquing them might actually be my secret Christmas present as opposed to watching them. But in order to critique them properly, one has to sit through them.
Perfect. I love it. Well, that's 1.5 pops for the holiday. 0 pops. Possible negative pops for
except
Love
Joanna's
Actually
singing
in its entirety.
portion. That is amazing.
Joanna's singing is flawless. And maybe, like a half pop for a very edited down Love Actually.
Yeah.
This is where we're at right now. And Dream Future Pops, a cross-pollination version in which Iris and Arthur join a half Love Actually. So we'll see what we can do for next year. Can you imagine if I spend all year just like cultivating and editing this dream version of the 2 films for us, you guys, and then surprise you with it next year?
Love it.
That would be a Christmas to remember.
We love to leave our episodes on something we genuinely recommend. Stephen, you're our guest of honor. Would you please, honor us with your recommendation?
Okay, I will. It's keeping to the same theme. I chose Christmas movies. As we have established in past episodes, The Lion in Winter is my absolute favorite Christmas movie. Right. Medieval king and queen hate each other, historically vaguely accurate. The King of France is sleeping with the Prince of England. It's 1183 and we're all barbarians. It's fabulous. Katharine Hepburn, Peter O'Toole. Go watch that, But then another one that I really like, and it'll give you an idea of the type of Christmas movie I really like, is called A Christmas Tale in English. It's Conte de Noël in French. It's Catherine Deneuve and Mathieu Almaric, and she is a Chile mother, matriarch of a family who needs a bone marrow transplant, and her wayward son is the only matching donor, and the rest of the family is trying to convince everybody to give him his bone marrow, and that's Christmas in a French film.
Oh, wow. What's it called again?
It's called Conte de Noël, or A Christmas Tale. There's other stuff going on. There's jumping of beds. There's possibly some teen incest that happened a long time. It's France. Happened a long time ago, but
how can we see this? Is it on any of those streaming
I have it on the DVDs, but in the streaming platforms, I'm sure it is available somewhere if you just look up A Christmas Tale or Un Conte de Noël. But the poster is all these great French actors, and it is an ensemble cast, much like these films we were talking about, and it's just broken glass with the words Un Conte de Noël and then a family picture with no one looking at each other over it. It's how I like to celebrate the holidays.
Wow,
Stephen, stay true to yourself, man. I love it so much.
I like a good dark Christmas.
If you are looking for that movie, you can look it up. Just Watch is a good site.
Yeah, and it tells you where stuff is
streaming in Canada and the US and like everywhere else. So yeah, you can see where stuff is streaming that way. Thank you, Stephen.
Cool.
That sounds
bleak,
special, and I can't wait. I love it. Lisa, how about you? What are you going to recommend?
Sure. So I did some Christmas baking this year, some shortbread, and it's all gone. But I want to say that instead of using the dried sweetened cranberries, I used fresh cranberries in my shortbread.
How did that go?
Yes, I did. I went so well. It was perfect. The tartness of the cranberry with the sweetness of the shortbread. And then I did some orange zest. So
of course, I was going to ask.
Okay,
yeah, fabulous.
The cranberry orange Shortbread cookie is my highlight for the year. They're all gone. I apologize.
Do you have a recipe?
I have a recipe I can send. Yes. We can put that in.
So we can put the link in our show notes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yay! That sounds lovely. AG, what about you?
So I watched Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio over the weekend, and it just completely destroyed me. Like, it's
really
amazing. Huh. I was like weeping at the end of it. And I mean, if you have seen his other movies, you kind of got a sense of like how he reimagines Pinocchio. Like, I didn't necessarily expect going into it, like based on having only seen Disney's Pinocchio, that it would be something like what it is. But and someone on Twitter described it as gnarly, which I would agree with, is like, because like he kind of has reimagined it to be set in 1930s Italy during the rise of fascism.
Happy times.
There's like elements where like Pinocchio's like training at a fascist army camp.
Oh.
That's but it's this beautiful stop motion animation. Ewan McGregor plays Sebastian J. Cricket, the narrator of the story, and he's like at his most charming best as the narrator. And it's an amazing movie. I highly recommend it.
That comes out of left field. I have been hearing about Pinocchio, but I haven't actually seen any reviews or heard anything. And you're the first person to tell me like that it's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. It's just like the total reinvention of the story is just, and it's, Guillermo del Toro is just genius. And I think, he puts his magic on this film.
Amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I am going to recommend, I have started this like ongoing, I love Christmas music. We've talked about it. I love new Christmas music every year, new holiday music. I'll take it all. And I have particularly been interested in the last 2 years exploring, like, I kind of noticed that like there are a lot of songs that seem extremely like hot for Christmas, like sexy Christmas songs. And I find this fascinating. And so this year, so I made a list last year, and this year I added 4 more songs to the list. But one of my like all-time like hot Christmas songs had been this song by Johnny Reid, who is a Scottish Canadian vocalist. A lot of people's parents and grandparents are super into him, but he does this song called My Kind of Christmas. It is ridiculously steamy. This year, he released a new version with vocalist Katie Cadan. She is a fellow thick queen with glasses. I love her so much. Her voice is amazing. And if you thought the song was steamy like as a solo, now it's a duet and you're like a voyeur into their world. And it's great. So yeah, you want to just like enjoy a little naughty Christmas music. That is for you. Johnny Reid featuring Katie Cadan and My Kind of Christmas.
Nice.
Fall on your knees and hear those angel voices.
Always. We just want to make sure everyone is having the best Christmas they can. So, happy holidays, everyone. This episode is going to be
happy holidays.
It's going to be out a few days before the holidays. And we appreciate you like hanging out with us every year for this episode, Love Actually versus the Holiday. Stephen, it's been so nice having you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy
pagan ritual of your choice out there, people, listeners.
Yeah. Because it's dropping on it's dropping on solstice, right?
It's dropping, I think, the day after. It's dropping on or about
after
solstice.
Yeah, happy solstice to everyone who celebrates as well. Whatever you celebrate, enjoy.
And remember, you don't have to decorate your house for Christmas.
You totally don't.
Like you live in Calgary.
You don't
or
even
watch
have to
Love Actually or The Holiday.
You don't have to watch Love Actually or The Holiday either. We do this to ourselves. You're not obligated.
No, you are not.
But we thank you all for listening. You can hang out with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You could email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. You could rate and review us 5 stars.
5.
We love a good 5 stars. Thanks to Andrea Gin, our co-host and producer here. You have enjoyed. I always want to say where it's being produced. This episode is being produced
in the cloud
for you in the fine confines of Kerrisdale.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.